was just the two of us after my father left. I don't think losing my father broke my mother's heart, but rather losing love itself. Her hands started shaking beyond her control. Just leaving the house was difficult.
Wonder if you can give me a hand here.
You're bleeding. Mom, this is Frank.
Who's kind enough to offer me a ride?
We really can't help you.
Frankly, this needs to happen.
Where do you want to go?
Your house.
So I love that we get this beautiful story of a mother and a son from the perspective of a son, which I think adds an interesting perspective. Of all the stories in your life, if you could hear a life story told from your children's perspective, which life story do you think would be most interesting to hear how they tell it?
God, that's a really big question. But I agree with you, actually, on what you say about the fact that it is told from the son's point of view. And it was certainly one of the things when I read the script that I did find most interesting, you know, because, yes, it's a love story. It's a very beautiful love story between Frank and Adele, played by myself and Josh Brolin. But, as you say, there's this wonderful young actor, Gatlin Griffith, who plays Henry, my son.
Amazing.
And he is absolutely amazing. And I think the impact of the affection and the love that Frank and Adele discover in the story, the impact that has on him really does something to his development as a human being and how he sees the world and how he sees his mother, and to see his mother in this sort of different light. It's always just been him and her, and suddenly there's somebody else on the scene, and just watching him respond to that.
Absolutely.
It is absolutely intriguing because, of course, that does happen.
It does,
It
for sure.
absolutely does happen. Children are incredibly perceptive, incredibly smart, and they always feel things in a very profound way. And I think that telling the story through the eyes of the young boy was a really clever thing.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
On the part of the writers.
And I love that it is initially a very crazy situation for you and your son, but then eventually for Adele it begins to feel almost natural over the course of the weekend. What is a role that you've taken that maybe initially felt crazy, felt unpredictable, but you were maybe surprised at how natural it began to feel?
I think probably this one, to be honest.
Why this one in particular?
I think this one in particular because, as you say, these are very unexpected circumstances under which these two people meet. You know, Adele has been surviving in a sort of a quiet, almost reclusive way. She has an interesting and sort of turbulent history herself. And, you know, her life is the way that it is. She's just getting by, she's raising her son, and she just isn't expecting too much of life or herself. And there are lots and lots of things that she's had to just put to one side. And then Frank comes along, and all of that changes. Everything is unexpected from the moment that you see those two people on screen. And as you turn the page and as each minute of the movie goes past, something new happens that you don't expect, and something more happens that you really didn't expect was going to happen. And it's all the opposite of where you feel the film is going to go. And so for me, this probably is actually the most surprising and unpredictable story, certainly as an actor, that I've experienced.
For sure. Well, give me the wrap. I wanted to ask really quick. I think it goes without saying that you're one of the greatest actresses of all time, but I've always been curious as to how often an actor uses your acting chops outside of a movie, to get out of a parking ticket, or to get out of a speeding. What has been perhaps the most interesting real life situation in which you've maybe had to use your acting chops outside of a movie?
Oh my goodness me. Oh my goodness. I don't know, but I probably do use it in some way every single day. I kind of can't help myself. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever gotten out of a speeding ticket or a parking ticket. I'm sure maybe I did when I was younger. Off the top of my head, I can't think, but I don't know.
The best in-car performance ever that would be. I would pay good money to see that.
I don't know if you would.
I could talk to you all day. If you ever come to Houston, I have a very comfortable fold-out couch, so it's more than welcome to you. It's such an honor to sit across from you. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Have a great day. Congratulations on everything.
Thank you very much.
Who are police looking for? Frank Chambers, an inmate at Stinchfield Prison serving 18 years for murder.
I'd be grateful if you let me stay till nightfall.
Isn't it against the law to hide a fugitive?
If someone were to come by, it would need to look like I kidnapped you.
How do I know you won't hurt us? I'm stronger than you think.
I've never intentionally hurt anyone in my life. So what do you see behind me? The beautiful...
A little bit of the fireplace, a little bit of the light.
Not that, though.
Sign. I don't know if you can see that. Does that help you at all?
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey, man.
Good to see you
how are
again,
you?
man.
Nice
How
to
are
see
you?
Good. Good. Good.
Dude.
Got your notes?
I do. Oh, dude.
You should-
Don't look. You're gonna
Come
spoil
on,
them
it's
for
all
yourself.
good. I'm not gonna read
Dude, I gotta make sure I haven't. I'm trying to ask
Did
questions.
you write these last night or outside?
Last night.
Dude, can I have these afterwards?
Yeah. You want
Okay,
them?
cool.
Seriously, you want them?
Yeah,
Okay.
frame it.
Okay, no, dude. I try to ask questions. Hopefully, you haven't been asked.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yes, they do.
That's okay. If I could get a 2-shot the whole time, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm gonna give you my notes afterwards.
No, I think it's cool.
Well, no,
They're
because
actually well written.
because I'm trying to make sure I ask questions, and we were
That's
just talking about
smart.
this. I try to ask. Hopefully, you haven't
like
been asked
homework,
10,000
right?
times. It is homework. It really is.
A horse or a hamster?
That's what we're
What?
saying.
Would you rather be a horse or a hamster?
What are you talking about?
No, because we were saying if the interview goes poorly, that could be my go-to.
A horse, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A horse or a hamster? Who would want to be a hamster? That's like weird.
That's what Doug Martin, the running back, they call him the hamster, and it pisses him off.
Well, of course
Yeah.
it does. How could it not? The guy running in place, you know. All right.
Dude, how is Old Boy gonna be amazing?
I don't know. I think Old Boy. I mean, I'm hoping,
Right.
obviously,
Right.
because I'm such a massive fan of the original. But
I'm
I don't
excited
know
to
at
do
this
it, man.
point.
I'm
I don't
excited
know.
to do it.
Yeah, I hope so.
Oh, so are we going?
Are we speeding yet?
Oh, cool. Sometimes I never know.
Yeah.
Awesome. Jake Hamilton, Fox Houston. Mr. Brolin, good to see you again, man.
Me too, man.
So one of the reasons I love that we get to know Frank so well is through a series of flashbacks, which I think is always a great thing to have for a character.
Yeah, yeah.
Of all the great characters you've played, if you could have flashbacks for one of them to get to know them a little bit better and learn more about that guy, who would you be most interested in seeing maybe a little bit of a backstory to?
The guy in Grindhouse.
Oh, yeah?
Man.
What would you like to learn? What were some questions, maybe some scenes you'd like to flashback to?
I don't know. I mean, the guy was such a weird, freaky character. That. Oh, how about no? That was kind of like a perpetual flashback. Was the Goonies?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was already. That was
Yeah,
like a
yeah, I
living
would say that,
flashback.
yeah.
I don't know what other character. What character have you seen of mine that you
Honestly,
actually?
my initial thought.
I mean,
thought-
you haven't seen my movies.
Oh yeah, exactly. I'm not sure who you're. I think No Country for Old Men. I think that guy would be sort of
Really?
interested. Yeah.
I kind of like. I already know what that guy's background would be like. A lot
yeah?
of the guys that I grew up with, I think that would be. But no. More like Grindhouse.
Okay,
like the
cool.
weirder
I'd be
characters.
cool with that, dude.
Yeah.
Grindhouse is a freaking amazing movie.
He was
by the way.
probably like picked on a lot.
Yeah.
I have a feeling.
God, I love that movie.
I know, me
That's
too.
such a badass
man.
movie, but-
Do you know that people went and saw that movie and then they would go and see the manager of the theater afterwards and they'd say, there were scratches in this version of the
No
movie?
kidding.
I swear to God.
I waited for the Blu-ray to have them together because when they released on DVD, they took the scratches out.
Oh,
and I was
they-
like, that
no, they
defeats.
didn't.
They did. There's a DVD version out that
But
where
the whole
they're
point
separated.
was-
They're separated, and they put in the missing reels. Where it's like, oh, the missing reel. They put it back in.
Robert put it in digitally, and I know that Tarantino actually put it on the parking lot floor and actually went
No
like this,
kidding.
I swear to God.
That's all.
Which
That's
is
why, like,
awesome.
whenever the DVDs came out, I was like, I'm not gonna buy this because this is not why I saw it at midnight
That's
opening
hilarious.
night, and
Did
it
you
was
really?
it was one of my all-time favorite
love
cinematic
it.
experiences
I love
ever.
it. I love
it's
it.
awesome, dude.
I wish it did better.
But
It just is what it
It
is.
is what it
Now
is.
they look back on it and they're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
it's becoming like more and more and more. It's
Dude.
kind of like The Big Lebowski. When The Big
Yeah,
Lebowski
exactly.
came out, nobody saw it.
and
now
there are
it's like
10,000
cult
movies
status.
that do well that we're not talking about
know,
6 months
exactly.
later. So
I
don't
know,
so
I
don't
know.
worry about
You're
that,
right.
man. Don't worry about that.
Such a positive.
I try to be, man. I try to be.
Such a positive.
So obviously the movie takes place in 1987.
Yep.
And there are a lot of little flashes and movie posters that remind you that it's 87. If we were going to kind of whoosh over to see what Josh Brolin's doing, I know in 87 you starred in a classic episode of 21 Jump Street. What would you be doing in 1987?
Because it was between me. What would I?
Yeah. Well, like, if we
Or
were just
what was
flash
I?
over, what?
I mean, I was doing a series called Private Eye that people told me I couldn't get, and I had turned down a movie. For me to turn down a movie at that point was ridiculous, and I turned down a movie called Back to the Beach, which was Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello's like resurgence movie.
Right.
And they couldn't believe I was turning it down because they knew it was going to be a huge hit, but nobody saw it. My publicist Liz Mahoney saw it. She was
Oh,
the
yeah.
person. Yeah, that was 1 out of 3. What else? What was I doing? No, I did an episode of 21 Jump Street because it was between Johnny and I, for literally between Johnny and I.
Really?
And we were in his apartment waiting for the call to find out who was going to get it.
No kidding.
And then he got it, and I remember he filled a duffel bag full of clothes and then got on the plane and then went and did it. And then they asked me to do an episode, and I said yes, because I needed the money. I needed the work.
But it all worked out, man.
It did all work
It
out.
all
We
worked
laugh
out.
about it now.
That's amazing.
You know, 25 years later.
I love that, like Frank, they're saying stories about him on the television. The media is spinning an image of him that isn't necessarily true.
Right.
Without going into spoilers.
Yeah.
I was wondering, if, you've been in this business a while. What is a media story that you've heard about yourself that is perhaps the most untrue media story you heard?
They're
about
all
yourself?
true.
They're all true?
All of them. All of them have some sense of truth. There's always a sense of truth in all of them. I'm not being serious. No, there's truth to certain things. I've read certain things. I'm not going to say it. There's read certain things about myself that are just absolutely asinine and ridiculous. That's the weird thing, that if you choose, and it's hard not to, no matter who you are. Like Joaquin Phoenix, I think, is the only guy who just doesn't know anything that's ever written about him or what. He just stays completely away from it. But no, I've read things about myself that are just ridiculous.
I read my comments on YouTube, and I'm like, then I go in the room and cry.
You do. You take it seriously.
I do take it seriously.
No,
it's always an honor to sit across from you, man. You're always a good guy. You're
Thanks,
always really
man.
nice to me, and I appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Did you ask any of those questions?
I did.
Really?
I didn't get to ask all of them.
Can I have?
Please.
Do you mind?
Please.
What if you meet me again? What if you need them again?
I'll see you in October, man.
Okay,
Hopefully,
good.
knock on wood. If you ever come to Houston, I'm very comfortable fold out
All right.
couch.
I think I'm going to go to Dallas, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
We'll hang out.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
We'll hang out. And then you left.
What happened?
Just know that there's more to this story than you'll see in that paper there. You won't be needing that any longer. When you have to say I tied you up, you won't be lying. Choke up on the bat, hands together. It's a good peach.
I should throw most of them away before they rot.
I have another idea. Does a fellow let a woman like your mother get away?
He got together with his secretary.
He's infected. I'll send Henry for medicine.
Keep an eye out, all right?
I should go.
Maybe you should stay.
They're not going to stop looking.
I know.
I heard a rumor that initially you really wanted to do this immediately after Up in the Air, but then waited because you wanted Kate Winslet to be able to take the role. And I was curious if that's true. To what degree is a movie affected by when you make it in your life? Had you actually made Labor Day then, would it be a different movie than the movie that you made now?
That's an excellent question, and certainly this is Labor Day was a movie that required maturity. So I'm happy that I ended up waiting an additional year, and of course I would have waited 10 years to make this movie with Kate Winslet. There's no version of this movie that could exist without her.
Right, and she is unbelievable. It's actually gonna be my first time sitting down across from her, so I'm super nervous to say the least.
Yeah, you're gonna have a great time.
Awesome.
She's lovely. She's one of the guys. She's very cool. She's very funny.
We'll hang out later.
We'll grab drinks later.
I'm in.
She'll drink us under the table.
Will she?
Frankly.
That doesn't take much for me, man. Now I gotta. Whenever directors do something that almost goes against the grain of their entire career, which I feel like this does for you in a good way, people start looking for a reason. They say like, what is he trying to say by doing this? And I'm curious if in 10 years people look at your filmography and this stands out because of its tone, and people are looking for a reason. What would you say that the reason is?
Yeah, it's an excellent question. I think I switched from skim milk to soy, and my testosterone levels dropped.
Right.
And at that point, yeah, an effeminate movie like this made perfect sense.
So, headline, Jason Reitman, films affected by milk.
You got your interview.
That is the headline coming out of Toronto.
I wasn't looking to make a different kind of movie, frankly. You know, my producer, Helen Esterbrook, put this book in front of me, and I fell in love with it. And I wanted to tell the story, and I really wanted to bring it to life cinematically. I'm sure years from now I'll look back and I'll find all sorts of reasons that I needed to make this film. But it was a really exciting challenge to do something completely different, to do something that wasn't about the dialogue, but was about the looks and the shots and the heat and the romance and the tension. You know, all kinds of things that I hadn't really explored in the past and were an exciting challenge.
For sure. You know, one question that I get asked a lot is people say, you know, what is the movie that you most relate to, that your life that you scared you because of how close it was? And my answer is always Up in the Air, because of just we fly so much. I have a Global Services United card, and I actually...
Are you GS?
I'm GS, man.
GS out of Texas, which is really hard because it's an American state.
Yeah, exactly. But Houston is a United
Oh, that's right,
hub.
Houston's
United hub.
Because of the continental thing.
Right, exactly. So I really enjoy my status
I lost my
around.
GS last year.
No.
I cannot tell you. I called people and wept.
No.
I know, it broke my heart.
Right?
Please put this on air.
Did
Convince
I take
them
your
to give it back to me.
GS?
No, honestly, I had GS for 4 or 5 years.
Right.
And I lost it. And now when I don't walk into the Global Services
Right.
line and I watch the people lined up there, I cry. My heart bleeds.
Right.
It's just...
For people that don't know what GS is, Global Services...
Global Services is the top level of status on United Airlines, and it's not something they advertise. It's an invite-only club. One day, I remember when I got... Oh, you're going to flaunt your Global Services card in front of me? How dare you?
There you go, sir.
GS card. How I miss you so. When I first got into Global Services, I was flying out of JFK that day, and I walked up to the counter, and they handed me my ticket and said, Global Services. And I said, but I'm not a member of Global Services. And they said, welcome to the club.
It's the best thing ever, isn't it?
Oh, my God. It's unreal. You call, you get a person.
Right.
And they you know what I got once? They put me on a plane with no seats.
What?
There were no seats available. I was going Seattle to Los Angeles, and they just made a seat for me. I know. I'm a 1K now. It's
United,
fine.
bring him back!
Please, United. This is my plea.
Don't sacrifice me, but someone else.
Don't sacrifice this lovely guy, but there's got to be someone you can knock out, right?
Come on.
And make a seat for me?
Come on. Whatever it takes. I could talk to you all day, man. When you come to Houston, I have a very comfortable fold-out couch. So it's open to you, man. Dude, it's always an honor to sit across from you, man. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Bye,
Appreciate
guys.
it. Have
See
a
you
good
guys
one.
later.
I know.
They were two people who couldn't go out into the world, so they made a world with each other.
I'd take 20 more years just to have another 3 days with you.
I can't give you a family.
You already have.
Adele? Are you a friend?
Just a handyman. We're gonna hit the road and never look back.
Well, withdrawing this quantity, this a little suspicious.
Morning, son. You want to tell me where you're going?
I came to save you, Adele.